So we've got two methods of eliminating and making an A-line skirt, of moving darts around. We're going to do this a lot in pattern cutting. So we're going to do the two methods to make your A-line skirt. So you need to, we'll do the pivot one first of all. So you trace the block off, okay, the centre front or centre back, depending which one you're doing. You draw that section, okay, and you mark the bottom of the dart, and you mark the notch, and then you draw a line on the hem just below the bottom of the dart, and we're going to close the dart and open it into the hem. So we pivot, put in the pen at the bottom of the dart, and we pivot so that the notch is lined up, and then we just trace that round, marking all the notches. Put that in there. Okay, and then the hem, and again where you had that mark. So the dart is still there, but you've moved it to the hem. But in an A-line skirt, you just leave that, you don't sew it up, you leave that as shape. Okay, you just need to blend, this is an angle, we just need to soften that curve. And then we add a seam allowance. We're going to do a double turn. So you put 2 centimetres, you're going to do a double turn hem, 1 centimetre and 1 centimetre. Right, your 1.5 centimetre seam allowances with all your notches. 1.5 at the top. Okay, and that is your fold line. So you just annotate it with your boxed arrow. Okay, so that was my back. So that's the centre back, and that's a fold. And it's cut 1 on fold, and that is the pivot method. So that's one pattern piece. You're going to do either the front or the back in either or method. Okay, so then we're going to do the cut and slash. So the other pattern piece, so I'm using the skirt. It's in her line of sight. Okay, the cut and slash. Trace round the block. It really depends. When you're doing other patterns, you might find the cut and slash easier if you've got multiple lines when we look at panelled skirts. So first of all, just trace around it, and always trace around it accurately, because this is key. All your notches go in. Okay, and then mark the bottom of your dart. So it's exactly the same process, but instead of pivoting it, we're going to cut and slash. So we're still going to draw a line down, but this time we're going to cut it up from the hem to that pivot point. Keep enough paper for your seam allowances to go on. Cut it down. Obviously you'll turn it round. Try not to cut through. Okay, keep this one in place, and then exactly the same, you're closing that dart. Okay, you're just closing that dart, but by cutting and slashing, you're opening it into the hem. It's still there. All right, because you all get that time. And then stick it down, stick pieces of paper underneath, because we're keeping that as a, not as a dart, just as a style feature to make an A-line skirt. And then you just need to add all your seam allowances on exactly the same. So then you've got the front and the back pattern pieces, the same things happened, okay, but you've used two different methods to achieve the same result, and this is for the A-line pattern piece. Add all your seam allowances on and annotate it. That's a fold line that doesn't have seam allowance on. And make sure you've got all your notches. So that is cut one fold, and that was the front, and that is cut and slash method.